Boys, today we are going to learn the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. You know, the famous poem by Rabindranath Tagore was written when India was under British rule. The poem is written in the form of prayer to the Almighty, asking for a freedom for the country. Tagore also writes about the different qualities that are desirable for his countrymen to have, and appeals to God for social, educational, and economic freedom for the people of India as well. Poem was originally composed in Bengali. Tagore won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913, and this poem appeared in his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. So before going to take this poem, we have some meanings. First, we have pair up with your partner and match the terms with their given meanings. First, we have humanism. Humanism means what? A rationalistic outlook towards a human rather than divine or supernatural one. Patriotism. Patriotism means what? A quality of being a patriotic, vigorous support for one's country. Liberalism means what? Holding liberal views. Environmentalism means concern about an action aimed at protecting the environment. Now we have poems in English are of different types. First, sonnet. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Epic means a long story poem, often mythical. Limericks means a 5 line, a short story, funny poem. Lyric means a song like poem. Ballad means what? Ballad means a short story poem with a message is called ballad. A poem of 14 lines is called sonnet. A song like poem is called lyric. Poem with no infirmity of rhyme, rhythm is called free verse. Poem set in a picturesque, rustic background is called idyll. A sad poem lamenting the death of loved one, an elegy. A 5 line short funny poem with a rhyme scheme AA, BBA, limerick. Poem written just to create humorous. Now next is Where the Mind is Without Fear. Before going to take this poem, we have a information about Rabindranath Tagore. You know, Rabindranath Tagore, born 1861 and died 1941. He was the author of Gitanjali, and its profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful verse. He became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. This poem is one of his vastly read and discussed. It was originally composed in Bengali, and later he himself created it into English. This poem is from his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Tagore lived during the time when India was ruled by British. In this poem, besides the political freedom from British, Tagore also appeals to God for social, educational, and economic freedom for the people of India. Now first we read this poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the word has not been broken off into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where the words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless starving stretches his arms towards a perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my father led my country away. So what is in this poem, what the poet is telling in this poem? Here Rabindranath Tagore wishes his country to get true freedom, and he described that what this heaven of freedom is. He begins by saying that minds of his countrymen should be free from any fear, their heads should be high in dignity, knowledge should be free, and everyone should be allowed to acquire knowledge. People should be united, and the world should not be broken up into small pieces. There should be no division of people based on religion, caste, creed, color, race, or any other such prejudices. Not only in our own society but in the countries of the world as well. Poet wants a country where people speak the truth, sincerity, with the words coming from the depth of their hearts. Everyone should work hard to reach their goal, and they should continuously strive towards a perfection. He then compares a logical thinking, a reason, to clear steam, and all traditional rituals and customs that are harmful to the dreary desert. Sign of dead habit. He says that reasoning ability of people should not be lost or overshadowed by superstition, beliefs, and prejudices. His countrymen should be led by rational thinking, not by old beliefs that are harmful. In lines 9 and 10, the poet wants the minds of his countrymen to be led forward by the Almighty so that they broaden their outlook, thoughts, and action. He means that we should be generous in a thought and open-minded. In the last line, the poet addresses God as my father, asks him to awaken his country into heaven of freedom, where there is total freedom of good thoughts, good words, and good actions. So what is in this poem? Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the word has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. So what the poet is saying, that how our mind should be without fear, and head is held high means everybody should have a respect, where knowledge is free. Where knowledge is free means that knowledge should be given a free, education should be given a free, and this word has not been broken into fragments means whatever in the word, that is religion, caste, race, actually it should not be divided in the name of religion, caste. It should be equal. That is called where the word has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless starving stretches his arms towards a perfection. What is the poet is saying, that how should we speak in our life? We should be speak from our heart. We should speak truth. And where tireless starving stretches his arms towards a perfection. Tireless starving stretches his arms means what? Continuous efforts and struggle. By doing continuous struggle, by continuous effort, we have to become perfect in our life. Means for the perfection we have to struggle, we have to work hard. Where the clearest stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. What the poet is saying? What is our thinking? Here our thinking as compared to clear stream, and our dead habit as compared to dreary desert. Means the poet has compared thinking to the clear stream, and whatever the dead habit, it has been compared to dreary desert, where the mind is led forward by the into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of my freedom, my father let my country awake. You know, heaven of freedom is what? Condition of total freedom of good thoughts, good words, good deeds, while respecting those of others. Now what the poet saying in this line, that how our mind should be, how our mind is led forward into our widening thought and action, that our mind should be with the good thought and good action, and we have to become a very good person. We have to do a good action in the life, and we have to respect to those of others. So he is requesting his father, that is, let my country awake. How my country awake? Into ever widening thought and action, good thought and action. This kind of the thought our country people should have. These are the thinking of Rabindranath Tagore in this poem. You know, there are some lines are there. You know, the first line we have in the poem, that Tagore wishes. Find out the lines from the poem as a proof for the following. First is, Tagore wishes for a nation where people are truthful. Which line shows that Tagore wishes for a nation where people are truthful? Which line shows that? The line where words come out from the depth of truth. This line shows that Tagore wishes for a nation where people are truthful. Second, the poet would like everyone to work hard to reach their goal and in the long run to reach perfection. Which line shows? Where tireless starving stretches his arms towards a perfection, shows that the poet would like to everyone to work hard to reach their goal, in the long run to reach perfection. Next, the poet wishes that everyone in his country holds his head high in dignity. Which line shows that poet wishes that everyone in his country holds his head high in dignity? The line where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Next line, the poet dreams of nation where knowledge should be free to all. Which line shows that poet dreams of nation where knowledge should be free to all? The line where knowledge is free. The poem is prayer. Which line shows that the poem is prayer? Where the mind is led forward by thee into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So this is the lines, these are the showing the meanings of the line.